This is Dillon Quebedeaux with EXP Realty, and you're watching Louisiana on Fire.
What's up, Louisiana? Tim Davis, Louisiana on Fire, episode 21, part 2 with Mr. Dillon Quebedeaux with EXP Realty. And we were just ending part 1 with some good information and all that good stuff about him and how he came up. We're going to start off part 2. We're going to get into the family, and we're going to talk about his daughter, Emmy. So, man, tell us, because you guys been through a lot, something I can't even imagine, because I, too, have an 8-year-old and I have a 3-year-old. So I know you're the dad of 4. Yep. I couldn't even imagine the stuff that you guys had to deal with. First off, I can't even imagine having 4 kids. Let me just be real with you. I can't even imagine
it's
that.
Fun. It's
you
fun.
know, because I got 2 and they drive me crazy. But the situation that happened with Emmy, man, can you expound on that, man? Let us know everything about that.
Man, y'all bear with me if I lose it. I'll just get quiet for a second and get back to it. But July 15th, 2023, we were having a normal day. And we went swimming that night in the neighborhood, and we get home, we take Emmy a bath, and she's crying. Prior to this, about 3 weeks, my wife had brought her in 3 different times because she was complaining that her back was hurting, and they kept diagnosing her with a UTI. So we were swimming July 15th. We get home and she's crying, taking a bath, and she turns her neck and there's something bulging out of her shoulder. It was a lymph node, and we texted a nurse friend and to see what was going on. My wife is Googling. She's a Google doctor. I don't know about your wife, but my wife's a Google doctor, professor and all. Yeah. But anyways, love you, babe. Yeah. So she's Googling and she starts crying, and she said, "I think she has some kind of cancer." I said, "Shut the fuck up." That's what I said.
Right.
And I was like, "There's no way," So we're talking to our nurse friend. She said, "I wouldn't go that far, but definitely take her in." So we go to the emergency room, 11 o'clock at night. By God's grace, Dr. Bourne, I will never be able to thank you enough, was the emergency room doctor at the time. He went and took some tests, all the blood. Her blood was a little low, but he wasn't finding nothing that was no cause of popping up a lymph node. Yeah. So he came back and he said, this is a couple hours, and he came back and he said, "Look, I haven't found anything," but he said, "I am not satisfied with that." And he said, "Any other doctor would probably have sent you home," but he said, "I actually was the partner in oncology in Baton Rouge, at the St. Jude affiliate in Baton Rouge." So he said, "I want to take some further tests, if that's okay." Absolutely, we got to figure out what's wrong. He took an x-ray of her chest, and within minutes he came back and, in the best of ways told us, he said, "I did find something in her chest." And he said, "There's something at the top of the x-ray down to the bottom." Yeah. And so he said right away, he said, "I'm almost 99% sure this is stage 4 neuroblastoma cancer."
Stage 4.
And we don't have much time. That's what he told us. And so, so the next morning, look, again, thank God for Dr. Bourne. He had already had that over to St. Jude's in Memphis. Look, our whole world is just, it's just turned upside down. And so the next morning they do surgery, or they actually took some marrow out of, they biopsied the bulging disc, and they came back and they said it definitely is neuroblastoma, and they put a port in her, and they sent us home, and they was getting all of our stuff lined up with St. Jude's in Memphis. So here we are. Our life's turned upside down. We have 4 kids at the time. Yeah. Bills don't stop.
Right.
All this stuff that starts going through a man's head is like, what the heck are we gonna do?
Yeah.
We gotta go in there, and look, he told us like this is gonna be at least a year's worth of treatment, and so we don't know what to expect. So we go home. They schedule us in Baton Rouge at the St. Jude affiliate. We go talk to them. He tells us again. He said, "Look, this is stage 4 neuroblastoma," and he said that she does have to get to Memphis for some treatment. And but he said, I really feel confident that we can treat her. So that didn't help too much. Our lives are still turned upside down.
Yeah.
This was on a Thursday. By the Friday, she couldn't walk. Yeah, we were, we were doing all we can to keep her lifted up.
Yeah.
And we would take her out to the park, and we just, man, you can tell we're just eating her alive. So that by the Friday evening, and we left on Sunday to go to Memphis. By Friday evening, she couldn't walk. By Sunday, she couldn't even lift up her arms. We were doing morphine every 2 hours. She was screaming. The following day, so as a man, you there. What bills? This and that.
Yeah, right.
And it's not till on the way up we get a call from St. Jude's, and they say, "Hey, look, we have housing available. We'll put you up in this little apartment. This." We're like, whew. So that was a big lift off our shoulders, but
big relief right there.
But we're still heading up with her daughter. That at the time, she couldn't walk. Like I said, by the time we got up there, she couldn't lift her arms or anything. The next day, this was about a week, they did all of the testing that they needed to do there at St. Jude's, and we talked to her, Dr. Sarah. Mm-hmm. Love you, Dr. Sarah. And she told us again, it's definitely stage 4 neuroblastoma. It has gotten her bone marrow from head to toe. And so she gave us 3 different options of treatment to do. And she walked out and she said, "Y'all gonna have to choose." And I'm there, "Doc, what would you do if it was your child?"
Right.
And so she said, "If I knew, we would do that to every child. This is a research hospital, So anyways, doctor walks out. My wife is crying. And she's and we both were. And she said, "There's only a 41% chance of Emmy living through all this." And I don't know what came about me. But I told her, I said, with God on our side, all we need is a 1% chance,
Yeah.
And I did say that. And so anyways, man, she comes back in, and we both still, a hot mess. And she said, "Daddy, listen," she said, "give me 12 days after her first round of chemo, and I'll have her walking again, I promise you." Yep. So we went into chemo. It took 6 days. We were out in 6 days. We moved all of our stuff into this little apartment right down the road from the actual hospital. So we were out in 6 days, and man, you can tell the chemo started working. Like within the first few days, you can tell she was in a lot less pain. But by the 7th day, she was up and walking. By the 8th day, she had her little microphone singing and dancing at her little apartment, which Emmy called the tiny house.
The tiny house.
And so this is where we first started to see a little light in all this. But we knew we still had a year to go. So we did 5 rounds of chemotherapy and antibodies. And then she did a 6-hour surgery to remove all the tumors. So what they do is they treat for the cancer to go away. And the cancer was pretty much gone in the first 2 months of treatment.
Wow.
And they treat after that for the cancer to never come back. Because if neuroblastoma is known to come back, and if it does come back, it's going to be that much worse. Little Emmy can't take another round of what she just went through. Her little body can't do it. So anyways, we did 5 rounds of chemo. We did 6-hour surgery that removed the tumors out of her. They have to shrink the tumors, kill off the cancer, and then remove them. So they did that. And then we did 2 rounds of bone marrow transplant, which was 22 days each time, 22 to 24 days each time inpatient. They kill all the cells in her body, and then they put her cells back in her body. And then, so that was the toughest part. That was actually about a year ago today. We were right in the middle of transplants.
Wow, a year ago today. Man, And I've we've been friends, and I followed you guys because of the posts and everything too. But to see the difference, from when you guys first got there, and then like you said, her having her microphone, dancing, the kids coming to Tennessee, like
Yeah,
like,
that was another thing. When we first left, it was just my wife and I and Emmy, and we left all the 3 kids behind.
Yeah.
And we had a 1-year-old, and she was when we left, the most she had taken was 2 steps. And we get up to Memphis. We didn't know what we was going into. We get up to Memphis, and we find out like a weekend. We're doing all the tests and stuff, and then we meet up with somebody else. They said, "Oh, they'll house 1 more kid." Really?
Come on.
So ASAP, we got my 1-year-old up, but this is about 2 weeks after the whole process started, and when we saw her again, she was fully walking.
Come on.
Yeah. So we missed
those precious times, but at the same time, you guys are trying to make sure that you have this precious time with Emmy.
We fighting for Emmy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man,
Yep.
what's going through your head as a dad?
Man, as a dad, it really, as a man in general, you want to be, most men want to be the strongest, the richest, the this, the that, and everything else. And it was another God's calling to say, hey man, wake up and realize what life is really about. When you get put in a position where you have no control, it takes away all your control, and you have no control of the outcome. It really makes you, look at life differently.
Yeah.
Luckily, I've always gone to different motivational stuff and all. I'm obsessed with growth and motivation and all this stuff. So I'm always listening to uplifting stuff every single day, and I'm reading books and start reading the Bible and all this. Yep, staying positive every single day. That's number 1. Number 2, what I can say that I did was I learned very quickly to control the controllables in life, because life will happen and it will either throw you off the deep end, or you'll wake up and say, man, look, there's more to life than what I was focused on. Yeah. Business, whatever, wasn't focused on, my wife, my family, and all that stuff. So, it was another shakeup from God, and during her first transplant, day 1 of her transplant, I started the 75 Hard program. Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Never
so it's the toughest mental program they have out there. Andy Frisella, I've been listening to Andy since I met him in Fort Lauderdale, 2016. He come up with this program, and it's just certain things that you do every single day for 75 days. And one of them is 2 workouts. So the first day that she went into transplant, December 14th of 2023, I started my first day 1. I knew it was the hardest time that she was going through, and I had to put myself through the hardest time that I was going through. Otherwise, if I didn't fill my mind occupy my mind with something else, I was probably going to go crazy dealing with what she was going through and seeing her how she was. So yeah, man, every day I would get up at 5:30 in the morning. I would drive over down to we were inpatient at the time, our little apartment, make me my meals for the day.
Yeah.
I had to follow a strict diet, drive back, get my little workouts in, 1 inside, 1 outside. And man, that really shaped my mentality of controlling the controllables.
Yeah, that's how I feel too about, I tell my wife this all the time, I can only worry about the things I can control. But in your situation, seeing your child go through that, and you cannot take, because as dads, we want to take the pain.
It's
Put
the
that
worst.
on me.
Look, I've been through I've been through a lot of stuff myself. There's no worse pain than watching your kid go through something like that and not be able to do anything. Yep, you so want to take it away.
Yeah, man, I can't imagine, man. So when you guys got there and going through the process, so it was 2 weeks. So after after a month or so, did you ever fall into a dark, depressed state?
And so what I did was I would, before we went up, I was drinking a bit, casually. My wife may say otherwise, but anyways. So what I did was I stopped all vices. I had to. it would have taken me down a really dark hole. And that's why you've never seen me in a dark hole on Facebook or anywhere, because I stopped all vices and then started controlling what I can control, my health, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, God had a big part of that, but I really never. I mean, every day it's dark.
Yeah.
But I didn't go down that dark hole you're talking about, because I know that I had to drop all vices.
Yeah.
If I would have kept drinking, no telling if I'd be alive today.
And then as a father, and as how I feel is that, you have to be, like you said, we have to be the top of the head of the house, a strong one. So if you're not strong, then, Crystal and the kids.
Correct. Yep. It all falls from me.
Right.
Yep.
And so you took that pain, man.
And same for her. The 75 hard thing came from every time she would cry that she'd be in pain, I would disappear and I would go to the bathroom and I'd hit 25 push-ups. Every time I'd hear she's in pain, I'd put myself in pain.
Wow.
And so that started, man, sometimes I was doing 300 to 500 push-ups a day. And so that's why I'm like, okay, so now I need to do something else. So that's what led into the 75 hard challenge, was put myself into pain while she was in pain every single day. So that got me through a lot of it.
Wow. So you said she's going through
and
this.
if the doctors and nurses wasn't in the room, I'm doing the push-ups in front of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she'll see the strength.
Man.
So that, I think that helped her out a lot. But yeah.
Man, so like, that was amazing, man. That you like, you know what, going through that pain, I'm gonna put myself through this
Gotta
pain.
put yourself,
And you reached out on the other side. You guys came out on the other side.
Yeah, we came out on the other side. Yeah, so she did the transplants, and then we did 13 rounds of radiation, and then we had another 6 rounds of chemotherapy.
All within like a year?
Well, yeah, all within a little over a year. Yep.
Man.
Yep. So this was constant back and forth. For the most part, we did, while we were in Memphis, we didn't have our 2 older ones. My dad would bring them up as much as he could, for Christmas. By the grace of God, he was able to come. We got to do Christmas together, so we never missed a Christmas together.
That's amazing.
But yeah, we didn't have the baby, and I was the most I've ever cried throughout the whole process. Was leaving my 1-year-old behind for the second time during transplant. We couldn't have her because they were killing everything in Emmy's body, and her, her little system wasn't strong enough to be around other babies in case she would bring something into the room. So yeah, man, when we headed back up to Memphis without her that one time, it was just...
That was rough.
Yep, and she was just starting to talk. Remember when we first started the journey, she was starting to walk, and this time she was starting to talk. These weeks go by, we get her back, and she's talking full sentences.
Yeah.
So we missed the walking and the talking of our baby, but we were fighting a bigger battle, and I think everything worked out at the end.
Yeah.
And we were able to. As soon as we could have her up, we brought her back up there with us. That went over a year. We lived in Memphis for right at a year. And then they finally did some more testing. This was right about a year, and they said she was pretty much cancer-free.
Wow.
Yeah, and so we packed up the U-Haul and hauled butt home. Yeah, and we knew we were gonna have to go back. This was before the last 6 rounds of chemotherapy, but we would go back, we would do the chemotherapy, and then be able to go home.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to be close by, and that's just what we did. Yeah. They said she was 99% cancer free at first, and then 3 rounds into the last, they did some more tests. Into the last round of treatment, 3 rounds in, they did more tests and they came back, and that we had a bunch of tests scheduled the Friday as well, PET scan tests, and they canceled all the other tests. They came back and they said she looks great, everything's out. Wow. 100% cancer free.
Man, that whole year, you guys going through that every day. It's
every day, man, and it's every day, all day.
Nurses coming in.
A nurse is coming in, even when we're home. She has to be on so much medicine. She always had wires, a feeding tube. She had, wires hooked up. She was taking 10 medicines a day. Just, it was always something. Not to mention, throwing up was a popular thing for her, unfortunately, back then. So it was always, couldn't go too far. We couldn't get too crazy. She might throw up everywhere, in the car and stuff like that. But every day was, it was just unbelievable, the things that we had to go through.
So, as a father as well, like what, if you can, what were the things that Emmy was telling you while she was going through this process?
Man, she has such a great attitude. God, she's so strong. Emmy saw us cry very few times, and I do remember her seeing us cry one time, and she's the one saying, "It's gonna be okay, Daddy. It's gonna be okay." We'd bring her in the gym at our little apartment. They had a gym downstairs, and she would always say, "Keep going, Mommy. Keep going, Daddy."
Man.
Yeah. So, man, Emmy was, I can't say it enough, man. She's so strong.
Yeah.
And it's probably what she sees her mother and her father being strong, and that helped out a lot. But she's just naturally a strong person, and every single treatment she would come out better and better and better.
Yeah.
People ask me, man, how did you get through it? Because there was never a time in her treatment where we would be like, okay, she just took 10 steps back. It was positive. Yeah, each time. Yep. And like I said previously, it just brings you back to the gratitude of looking around at other kids and going through that situation, and they don't have it as fortunate as we did. Right. So again, things could always be worse.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, because you're going to a big hospital with other kids that are there.
Yeah.
Some going through the same thing,
yeah.
some not, but
a lot of them don't make it out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Did you guys come across some families that
a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what hurts the most. It's hard to connect with families out there because, and it just happens so quickly. They take a turn for the worse, and yeah, we see it all the time, and it really gets to us. And all we can do is pray.
Right.
Pray that we continue on the right path, and pray for every other family that goes through that.
Man, did you and Crystal, like, how was it on the marriage for you guys?
Our marriage got stronger. It was either one or two things. It was either going to rip us up or pull us apart, and it was. And God knew at the time our marriage needed to get stronger.
Yeah.
So we just came together, and we knew that we had one goal in mind. Was to cure our little girl, and that's what we fought for every single day, and we fought together. You know? So when you have a cause bigger than yourself, bigger than your relationship, bigger than your marriage, it tends to just work things out if you do the right things every day.
Right. Man, crazy to sit here and you telling us about everything that you guys have, and it's affected not just, Emmy went through it all, but you guys were affected as well too. And then the other kids, how were they,
They coped, man. They start off rough, actually. Yeah, they stayed back home with our in-laws, my wife's parents, and what a blessing they have been. But my son started to act out, was saying that he was going to run away, just stuff like that. Though, dealing with all that type of stuff, they turned around though.
Yeah.
The first 6 months was bad. The second 6 months, my daughter was leader of the year, and he come out was like most improved. So anyways, but they really turned it around for us. But we'd come back and we would say, guys, look, man, none of us want to be going through this, and we're so blessed that Emmy's still here with us. Please work with us. And it's hard. It's hard trying to parent, from FaceTime.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Every night, FaceTime. Hey, you listening? You brush your teeth? You this and that? You know what I'm saying? So there was many, many struggles, but we just have to stay positive.
Y'all doing that, man. And like the family, man, I mean, the fact that y'all had to leave, and then the kids had to stay here, still have to go to school. Still so like with your parents, your in-laws, your brothers, like them being there for you guys, man.
Such a blessing. Yeah, we had the biggest army that you could ever imagine. I'm sure y'all saw that when it all started, and people really just came together and helped us out and prayed for us. For us, man. I say it all the time, man. The prayers that we had coming in is really what got us through everything. Yeah, we'd get people from all over the country, really. Right. Texas, Pennsylvania, people I don't even know how social media is powerful.
Yeah, and it's gotten out there. You guys have a big reach, and I hate that, Emmy had to go through that, but I feel like it's probably changed a lot of lives for other people.
It
too.
has,
You
and I think God's taken it, pulling on me and my wife's heart to start talking about it more, start talking about our whole journey more, and hopefully to help people, even if it's not a kid with cancer, even if it's a kid with anything, man, we would love to talk and help people, walk through this journey with them. Right. And I think that's really what we're being called to do right now.
So you leaning on, God for sure. Tell me how that's been, going for you, because I know prior to the situation, but now like afterwards, like how is your relationship gotten stronger with God? Like who are you leaning on? I know you go to church now, so Our Savior's Church, right?
Yeah. When this all started, we reached out to Pastor Jacob at Our Savior's Church. Mm-hmm. And within an hour or so, my wife texted him, and he was at the gym. And next thing you know, he's knocking on our front door.
Come on, man.
Yep, and we wave him in.
And that's a big man, too.
Big man, yeah. So he, beelines in, and he goes straight to Emmy, puts his hand on her, starts talking to us. And that right there, I was like, man, really made me open my eyes to what God, has been doing in my past, but walking through our journey, knowing that Pastor Jacob was there with us, knowing that God was going to be with us in our journey, really made it better. He's been a big part. That this whole thing is really, it goes back to control the controllables. You lean on God for the things that you can't control.
Yeah, and I know like God's leading you down that path, and I feel like the relationship has gotten stronger. And then, shout out to Blake Cotter,
Yeah.
We go to CrossFit together. I know he's at Our Savior's Church as well. So with that, with God and the relationship, and I know he's been with you guys through it all. Through it, like, I don't know how you guys didn't like just break down and give up, honestly.
A lot of times we wanted to, but every time you look at Emmy and she has a smile on her face, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
Yeah. So like now she's 100% cancer free.
We're 100% cancer free. A couple of weeks ago, we went to Memphis and we got her port. She had a double lumen port that we would do the chemo and all through. She got that taken out, which is a huge milestone in the cancer world. It means that we're really looking good.
Yeah, that's good, man.
Yeah, from here on out, we go back every 3 to 4 months.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
Yeah, we go back every 3 to 4 months for scans. But as of now, today, she's 100% cancer free. 100%
cancer free. So like, is she back to herself?
We're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there. When we went to the port out, they wanted to put a tube, the feeding tube down her nose to make sure that she got the right nutrients. So we're fighting her eating like normal. She's not gaining the weight that we want, so we get nervous about that.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But she's pretty much back. Yeah, she's singing, dancing. Yeah, she's a fighter. Oh my gosh, she's a fighter. She's a fighter.
I feel like, and Crystal is the mother as well, so I see a lot of Crystal. Yeah,
Crystal's a fighter.
With the stuff that you've been through, and you can see that your daughter's going through those same type of fights.
Yeah, a lot. And look, I would go through my thing any day. Yeah, versus having to go through this with her.
Man,
I would take it from her any day.
Absolutely. As a dad, I think we always, as a parent, let me say that as a parent. But you said like, God has been, kind of, so do you think you realize the message he was been trying to give you?
Yeah. I listen to Ray Lewis a lot, and I always hear him say, he hears God say, "Can you hear me now?" And I heard that every day, out there. And so, he started reading the Bible and started listening to a lot more of Stephen Furtick and stuff like that. And he was really who helped us get through this, and knowing that he's with us. Just seeing Emmy conquer everything that she conquered. There's no other answer.
Yeah.
There's no other answer.
No other answer than that.
God.
Yeah. Absolutely, it's got to. And you said at first he says 41% chance that she was going to.
Yep, 41% chance that she was going to make it. Yep. And we didn't. At the time, like she couldn't walk or anything. We just didn't see how it would turn around like that. And sure enough,
turned
around and she fought through a long, hard fight, and she's still here with us today.
Yeah, right. She fought, but she didn't fight by herself though.
No.
You know? She
Yeah.
didn't fight by herself.
We had to all be strong.
Yeah.
Every single day.
And the community you guys have behind you guys.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it's amazing. You know, she's still got to go through the steps just to make sure she's good and all, but
Yep.
you know, she's still got that that army behind her.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
And the path that you guys are taking, I commend you guys for that, man.
Thank you.
I commend you guys. Like, what would you have to say to any parents going through this or similar to this?
Yeah, man, I'm glad you asked that. I would say keep going. You know, every day is gonna get better. If it ain't God, just focus on somebody bigger than yourself, and really hone in on the things that you can control. Make sure your mental health is there. I'd like to start talking about that eventually, more, you know, with guys, but even girls. I say right now, take control of your life.
Yeah.
You know, if drinking's a problem, stop it. If this is a problem, stop. You have to stop, because life will happen. Mm-hmm. And when life happens, it's either going to throw you down, throw you off the cliff, or you're going to fight back. You know, It's all about how you fight back.
Yeah. You guys been fighting. You guys been putting a lot of strength and everything, not only into Emmy, but into yourselves and your relationship with God. I commend you on that, man. And I know you got some guys you lean on at church and whatnot. Man, it's amazing to me that you guys been through all that, man. But you're strong, man. You're going through it. You're making it happen.
We're making it, man.
Yeah. Like,
and it's getting better every day.
Right, every day, and you're doing that right now. So with that, what's going on right now for you and the family? Like, you know,
for me and the family, is just try to get back to our normal lives. My wife went back to teaching. Through the process, I prayed and prayed about what I was going to do when we get back from Memphis, and it brought me back to real estate. I'm currently on the Blake Arsenal team with EXP. Blake Arsenal is an absolute beast, by the way.
Yeah.
And I am so grateful that he allowed me to join ventures with him, and I really believe we're about to take over the city in real estate.
That's what's up, man. So let me ask you this, because we're going to dive a little bit into that real estate right now. Can you give us a little insight on it? Because I know some people are kind of like, you know.
Yeah, so after the election, I think it's given people the ease of mind as far as maybe things start going, whatever side you're on, but maybe things will start settling down.
Yeah.
We are seeing a big uptick in the market. So I'm thinking 2025, regardless what rates do, it's going to be a very good year for real estate. Mm-hmm. You know, this might be the year to find a house to buy for the right price, knowing that eventually you can refinance and get a better interest rate.
Right, and need to come see you and Blake. So
absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Come see me and Blake. We are out there grinding it every single day, and we will do everything we can to get you in the home, you know, that you're looking for, and or sell your home. There's no other guys willing to work harder than us. I can guarantee you that.
Well, this is what I'm going to do, because look, if you guys are uncertain if you can trust Dillon, I got a question for him. I got a couple of questions for him. I'm going to see.
All right.
I don't have the wheel right now. I don't have a good handwriting, so I have somebody doing it for me. Unfortunately, she's under the weather, so I couldn't get it. But so I'm going to hit you with this first one, though.
All right.
Do you eat ice cream?
I try not to.
Try not to. Because of what you're doing now with the health thing? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, but yes.
Prior to that, though.
Yes.
What kind of ice cream would you? What's the flavor?
The Napoleon. What's it called?
Neapolitan.
Neapolitan.
Yeah, Neapolitan. Okay, all right. I can deal with that.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I swirl it all together.
Yeah. Oh, you diabolical.
Yep.
So you put it all together.
Yep.
Damn.
So, I like the strawberry, the vanilla, the chocolate, and you mix it all together.
I can rock with you on that, as long as you don't say like some off the wall stuff.
Oh no.
That's one thing. Okay, so that's halfway. Dillon can be trusted.
Okay.
All right, halfway.
All right.
The second one, it's kind of random, but do you have alarms to wake you up at night on your phone?
At night?
I mean in the morning, I'm sorry.
In the morning, yes.
Yeah. So how many alarms do you have to set in order for you to get up?
One.
Okay, all right, good. Yeah, see, he can be trusted. I know some
My wife, 5.
5, that's what I'm saying. You know, like, so you can snooze it. My wife snoozes. Like, she probably snoozes at least 11, 12 times.
Depends on how important the day is.
Yeah.
Yeah, know what I'm saying?
Every day is important, man.
Every day is important. Every day is important.
Every day is important.
But as far as how early do I need to start my day and all, but Yeah, I typically like to get up around 5:30, 6 o'clock, get to the gym.
Just like me. Yeah.
Yep. And then get my little ones to school and daycare, and get to grinding.
Yeah, man. You guys have been grinding. The family, the strength that you guys have. Let everybody know where they can find you because of what you're doing now. How they can support you guys.
Absolutely, appreciate that. Yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Dillon Quebedeaux, or follow my Facebook. The real estate Facebook is Dillon Quebedeaux EXP Realtor. Yeah, and
then for Emmy too, like what as far as how you guys still
Emmy, we have Emmy Strong on Facebook.
Okay, yes.
And then you can follow my Facebook as well.
Yeah.
I tend to just post from my page a lot more than there, but yeah, you can follow us, and we appreciate all the prayers that we've gotten in the past, and we can't thank everybody enough.
Yeah, man. Look, what's one thing that you would like to let the world know? You know, if you at the end of this right now, what's one last thing you'd like the world to know?
I'd like the world to know about me.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. One thing I'd like the world to know is that I'm here. I've never been more motivated in my life to bring my family up. Now that we're done with all this Memphis stuff, I'm really focusing in on being, and it's not about money right now. It's about being able to, we had to cancel a Disney trip in December, somewhat health, somewhat money. I never want that situation to happen again. It was a Disney trip for her success. Yeah, and it was through Make-A-Wish and stuff, but it really, I'd like people to know that I'm really out there grinding, and if there's any way I can help anybody, not just in real estate, if I can help you, please reach out to me.
Yeah, because that's what I feel like that right there is what people need to know is that like, if you're going through something, reach out to anybody.
Absolutely.
If you know Dillon and you kind of leaning, you kind of having a hard time, just reach out to anybody.
And my wife.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to sit with you, the opportunity to get to know you better, the opportunity to go ahead and support you guys and your family and whatnot, and have you guys in our prayers as always.
Thank you very much.
Man, thank you for it. Look, this is Tim Davis. This is Dillon Quebedeaux. Louisiana on Fire, episode 21, starting off 2025 with a bang. Thank you so much, man.
Let's do it.
If you guys
need anything,
year. It's going to be a great, fantastic year. If you need anything else, let us know. Reach out to us. But until then, see you on the next one. Yeah, man. But
I don't know.
Yeah, that was good, man. What's up, Louisiana? Thanks for watching another episode of Louisiana on Fire. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Oh, and don't forget to hit that bell so you can be notified for the next episode.